Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to everybody.
Yes.
Morning, sir.
For next 1 hour. Good morning.
Good morning,
next
sir.
1 hour. Let us see the motivations of well-known concepts in graph theory from different fields of engineering. Most of them are derived by the signal processors or by engineers, or most of them are faced by electrical engineers in communication and computer scientists in processing the jobs. Their problems turns out us to derive new concepts. Once we satisfy their demands, then we'll go mathematically in different ways to towards different sides. Finally, now the trust area of today's is we got the result, we have the result in our hand, the people are thinking where to apply. The application should start from the beginning, not after getting the solution. It is a mathematical result. Mathematical result can be applied only with the proper definitions. Okay, when they start the definition properly, then you can think about the application. Otherwise, just to think about the definition to create a new things to get the doctorate degree, finally you will get the degree without any application of your work. So, situation, by muting ourselves electronically, I request everybody you to mute yourself electronically without disturbing. Let us try to understand how to avoid so many noise effects without producing noise ourselves. Okay. For that, little background of what I'm going to say, something about the applications and needs of mathematics in engineering. I need some basic backgrounds of group theory, graph theory, also some algorithm aspects. I'll start with these concepts, with the introduction of these concepts. Then I'll go to say a few words about our works. Then I'll conclude finally what to do, what we can do, how to do it and all, with lot of problems. Shall I start now? At least 1 or 2 persons should respond. At least, otherwise I'll feel alone here.
Yes, sir. We are able to hear.
Okay. Anant Lakshmi sir and Padma madam. Andhra Pradesh is known to produce a good research in algebra. So I'll start with some basic algebraic concepts, what I need for today's presentation. I have not prepared any slides. My lecture is not to make attractive. Instead, I want to be interactive with you. At the end of my lecture, you can post the questions in your WhatsApp group. Then I will answer it suitably by looking at the validity of the questions, and also all the questions which I post here, you may get counter examples or solutions. That also I can post it. If the suitable questions are there, we'll answer. Otherwise, suppose some errors are there, we'll identify. problem of facing? I hope you can see my desktop now. Visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us start with the domination as a continuation of previous lecture. Let us take one simple example of a chessboard. We have, I'll write now here, 3x3 chessboard. I'll pose a problem here. What the problem is, you have to place some, you have to choose some places to keep the queen to dominate all other squares. We know that if I keep the queen here, it will dominate all the squares in the row, in the column, and the diagonal contained in it, contain that queen. If I take down the queen here, this will dominate all the squares, these three squares, and this diagonal, and this column, and this row. Therefore, if I keep the queen here, okay, it will dominate this square because this is in the square. Queen can move diagonally or vertically or horizontally. So this dominates this vertex, and this Q dominates this square, and this dominates this square because it's a diagonal. This queen dominates this and this also because this is again the diagonal. Also, this dominates these two squares because that is in the horizontal column. This is the column. So this also dominates these two because this is in the row containing Q. So to dominate all the squares of this board, I require only one queen. That should be properly placed. Suppose if I place here the queen some other place, for example, we take the place, I place it here, no, Q. This Q dominates the squares in the column, the squares in the row, and a square in the diagonal. It will not dominate this. The first question is, can I dominate all the squares with one queen? The answer is now yes. If yes, the second question is where to be placed. Okay. To solve this problem in general case, if I take now here a bigger board consisting of 4 rows and 4 columns. Now, recall my question is, if I give you only one queen, is it possible to dominate all the squares suitably placing this Q in one of the squares? First question is it possible with 1? If possible, then you answer where to be placed. Okay? I don't know with 1 possible or not. Now I'll take 2. Okay? I place 1 here, that in the second row, second column. Let us see what happens. This will dominate the square where it present, and all the squares in a row that it contains, and all the squares in a column that it contains, and all the squares in a diagonal containing this, the right diagonal, next to this diagonal again. We have still left over 4 cells. To cover that, I place my second cube here. Once I place there, this cube will dominate all the squares in the row containing that, and also column it contains. These two together dominates all the squares of the chessboard containing 16 squares. So what I conclude now is nobody needs more than 2. So number of cues required is less than equal to 2. If you say, if you give me 1, I cannot dominate. How many times you have to verify? 1 cue you have to keep in the first row, first cell, or first row, second column, here in the second cell. So we go on keeping your test now. How many tests are necessary for this? 16 tests are necessary. 16 places by keeping your check. In all the places, if you get the answer is no, then 1 is not sufficient. I already proved now 2 is enough. So together you and me will conclude to the required number of cues is 2. Okay? You cannot immediately say required is 2. So what to do is, to show 2 is necessary, first you have to prove 2 is sufficient. First you have to show that 2 is necessary. Next you have to show that 2 is sufficient. Then only we can conclude 2 is possible, sufficient. Sorry, 2 is exact number. Okay. This problem, how to solve, or how it motivated to define domination number in graph. This chessboard we represent model for this chessboard as a graph. These vertices are the squares. Am I audible, Anulakshmi madam? Visible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. If there is a disturbance, please tell me, madam, Padma madam. Okay. For this graph, for this chessboard, the graph model consists of the vertices corresponds to the squares. And we write now edges between those vertices correspond to squares. Whenever, if I place queen here, it will dominate B. Then if it will dominate B, then there is an edge here. That means this cell will dominate the cell B when if I keep the queen here. Okay, next here is this will dominate this also. Okay, this queen will dominate D. This queen will dominate G. This will dominate E. This will dominate I. Okay. So this will dominate all the cells. What are those cells dominated? Can be dominated by A. That I'll write here edges. Similarly, for this cell B, all those cells in the row containing B, or a column containing B, or a diagonal containing B to be related. B is related to E, B is related to H because these are the same row. Similarly, B is related to F because in the diagonal, B related to A and C because that is in the row. Okay. Next, B is related to D, that is in the again row. I hope you understood now. We complete this. We get now this way you're getting. This is the graph, what you are getting. Some more edges also. This is the model for Queen's problem. Queen's problem. In this model, what you are looking is the minimum places, minimum number of places to keep the queen so as to dominate all vertices. So if I keep the queen here, then we see what are those vertices which are not in this set. That means if I take only this set, let me see. C is adjacent to one of the vertex here. F, because this is again a edge is there here, because they are in the diagonal, sorry, in the row. F is adjacent to this. I also adjacent, H also adjacent, this also adjacent. Okay. This is the way a dominating set is. For any graph G, now let us go to a general graph. For any graph G, we have the vertices A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is vertex set. I choose some set S of vertices. Say I choose now A. I choose on this A. Okay. What are those vertices adjacent to A? That are B and C. B and C. Now I take now D and G. These are the three I'll take. Let us see whether this set dominates all the vertices of G not in S. Choose any X in the X which is not in the set. For example, if I choose now B here, B is in V minus X, this B. B is adjacent to one of the elements A, D, G, one of the elements in this. So now my B is adjacent to A. What about C? C is adjacent to D, also adjacent to A. What about now E? E is adjacent to D. E is adjacent to G, also G. Okay. This is adjacent to two vertices in S. This is adjacent to only one vertex in S. And what about this F? F is adjacent to two vertices in S. That is adjacent to D and G. Well, we now define the dominating set also. Some special numbers we got together with all the elements not in the dominating set. Okay. Now this set S is called a dominating set. The more mathematically, a set S is a dominating set of G if for all x in V minus S there exists Y in S such that x and y are adjacent. There is an edge between x and y, or the distance between x and y is 1. Then we say it is a one dominating set, or simply a dominating set. This is the one concept what we have studied now about the definition of dominating. Why these dominating sets are necessary in engineering and technology? We'll come to know later. Before that, let us go to again algebra. Algebra of graphs. Algebra of graphs. I will now take simple example. I will take one simple example of a graph. I label this vertex as x, a, b, c, d, e, f. You can label as you wish, no problem. I will not bother about the labeling now. Later I will bother about the labeling also. Okay. Now I define a permutation on the vertices labeled. Vertices labeled are x, a, b, c. Any problem? F and y. If I take x goes to x itself, a goes to a itself, b goes to b itself, I'm getting an identity permutation. Okay. Now I'll do like one more. I'll take one more permutation. See, alpha permutation. What I take now here is, I take. Okay, I'll write x, a, b, c, d, e, f. These are the vertices. What I do now, I hope it is visible now completely. I take now this element A to some other element F. I take A to F. Degree of this is 3. I cannot take to any other degree 3. I don't want to take also because I have some other purpose. A I'll take to F. F I'll take to A1 because there is no other of degree 3. So F I'll take to A1B. Next, X and Y are interchanged. X to Y and Y to X. Then what I'll do now, I interchange B and D, B to D, D to B, and similarly C and E, C to E, E to C. Okay, that means I'll write one more structure. What is my alpha is transferring the labels of vertex to new vertex, new labeling alpha. Wherever X is there, I will write Y. Wherever A is there, I'll write F. Okay. Wherever B was there, I'll write D. D I'll write as B. Okay. Then F I'll write as A. Y I'll write as X. Okay. E is nothing but C. C is nothing but E. What I got is exactly the same in the sense that whenever you take two vertices, you take any two vertices here, for example, D and E, they are not adjacent here, they are also not adjacent here. Sorry, D and E, this is E, this is C. Okay, D and E are not adjacent, that are also not adjacent here. D and B are adjacent, D and B are also adjacent here. Okay, that means my transformation alpha preserves adjacency as well as non-adjacency between these two vertices. Therefore, this is an isomerism. Okay, moreover, this is an atomerism because we got the same structure. G to G itself, the graph are same, so this is an atomerism. Alpha is one atomerism. Similarly, you can check now, if I write now beta equal to one more, A and F will interchange, sorry, A and F, oh, okay, A and F will interchange, then X and Y will interchange, then B and okay, instead of B and C, B and E, I can interchange these two also, these two, B and C. I can interchange these two. Okay, that means my B goes to this place, C goes to this place. Okay, okay, I can interchange now. That means my B and C interchanges, B and E interchange, B and E interchanges, B and E interchanges, this E, and C and D interchanges. This also atomerism of the same graph. So I'll write now a group contains all the atomerisms called atomerism group of G, that is A. A is nothing but group which is denoted by atomerism of G is equal to, one is the identity, other one is alpha, other one is beta, so on. You have so many others also. We have one more gamma. Okay, delta I can write. Delta is nothing but, you can write BD, FA, XY, CE. That's all. We have so many. To understand this again, let us take the small example, then the bigger one. I'll take now small example again to understand this. It is the smallest example. And label the vertices as A, B, C, D, E. try to write the atomosum group of this graph. One element of this is the identity element itself, identity transformation. Can you find any other transformation? No. Can you find an isomerism which preserves adjacency and non-adjacency? For example, you take this one, just alpha equal to BC. That means alpha is nothing but we have A, B, C, D, E, 5 vertices. B goes to C, C goes to B, A, D, E, R remains same. Now write the structure for this again. What the structure for this is, wherever A was there, you write A only. Wherever B was there in previously, you write there C. Wherever C was there, write B. D as D itself, E as E itself. This is the new labeling. That means this is the alpha permutation of permutation alpha. Can you say these are isomorphic? Can you find isomorphism between these two? Yeah. See, D and E are adjacent. They are adjacent here. D and A are not adjacent. D and A are not adjacent here also. Okay. B and C are not adjacent. B and C are not adjacent here. C and D are adjacent. C and D are adjacent. Wherever, what are the adjacency here? The same adjacency preserved here. What are the non-adjacency pairs are here? The same non-adjacency pairs are preserved here. Therefore, these two alpha is an atomorphism of the graph G. Okay. So I got now two elements. Then you can check now. There are no other permutations, other atomorphisms for this group other than I and alpha, only two. This is the concept of graphs and groups. Now let us start our terminologies. What was interesting is, earlier, before the investigation of computers, there was a problem of finding something in our graphs which preserves some properties of atomic groups. Okay. What was the problem is, for this graph G, we can define a labeling F that is called distinguishing labeling. A labeling of this, you can label as you wish, so that no non-trivial atomorphism of G preserves the vertex labeling. Okay. For example, label need not be numbers. It may be any colors or whatever it may be. I label now like this: R, G, G, R. Okay. I color this. Now, what are the atomorphism elements of the atomorphism group of this? That is I and identity and alpha. Alpha is nothing but interchange of these two labels. Now, if you take alpha here, this is the only non-trivial atomosism for this. Okay, in alpha, original vertex V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Okay, now what happened? This becomes V4, this becomes V1. This is V5, V2, V3. Okay. The color of V4 is now green when you interchange. Color of V4, V1 is R. Okay. Now see what these vertices. These are isomorphic to each other, but they are not color isomorphic. It is not preserving it preserves adjacency, it preserves the non-adjacency, but not color adjacency. Okay. Similarly, suppose the coloring is proper coloring. Suppose the coloring is proper coloring, then we say that is nothing but distinguish coloring the branch. It was the problem previously. Okay. Motivated that to define locating sets. Okay, locating sets and fixing numbers and all. Now I'll start my actual topic, locating sets in a network. All these concepts are motivated by distinguishing labelings, colorings, and atomorganisms in a group. Let us now consider a network of processors. These are the processors. The processors are joined like a path. Such a topology is called bus topology. There are 4 processors I connected here through a bus. Now I am thinking to label the processors. That means this processor, then this places, or this may be places or processor, whatever it may be. I am thinking to label this in such a way that, okay, for example, if I now here say this is Bangalore, Bangalore, old, and if you write here some place here, Chittoor. By seeing this label Bangalore and Chittoor, by doing something this with labels only, can you identify the distance between them? Can you identify the time required to travel between them? Or something, can you identify the route between them? If it is not possible, then this is a very complicated label for me. I want to label this with a simple concept or numbers or integers, so that one can immediately say which is nearer to which place. You can find out the routing also. For that, I have to keep some router somewhere. Out of these 4 processors, okay, I will make one of them as a server to serve some other purpose. Okay, I take this as a server. I will instruct the server to identify the distance from that server to all other processors. For example, from this here to here distance is 0. I'll ask to identify what the distance from this server to this processor, that is 1. Here to here, this is 2, and here to here, that is 1. Can I take this as a label to the processors now? If I say is it possible, then I should not get any ambiguity when I calling that. If I say I am going to number 1, you will get a confusion. Which place, this place or this place? If I say I am going to Bangalore, only one Bangalore is there, there is no confusion. Okay? First, if I keep the processor here, if I treat this as the server and identify the labeling through this server, I will get ambiguity. Suppose somebody say, I want to go to 1, you will get a confusion. Somebody want to go to 0, there is no problem. Somebody will say, I am going to 2, there is no problem because only 1. The problem arises only one situation when he wishes to go to place 1. Now, the same bus topology processor. Now let us take now. I identify the corner first one as the server. Then I'll do the same process of identification of the labeling the vertices through the concept of distance. I'll call this 0. From here to here the distance is 1. I'll call this as my processor 1. Here to here 2. Then here to 3. Okay. Now I perfectly labeled such a way that nobody will get confusion. If I say go to 2, immediately you will go to 2. Okay. Now the problem is, if I say out of all these processors, take exactly one as a server, can you serve the purpose of labeling distinctly? It is possible now by choosing corner. Let it be any number. This will continue number 4, 5, 6. Nowhere will get clash between the numbers. Okay. Therefore, this one server resolves my purpose, resolves my ambiguity purpose. This is the ambiguity here. Okay. Therefore, this one vertex is called resolving set. Out of these 4 vertices, out of these n vertices, I have to choose one vertex to resolve that suitably. That one vertex is kept it suitably. The place where we keep that is called landmarks. Okay. It is known that no other networks other than the bus topology can be labeled to serve the purpose with one server. That means all other topologies required at least 2 servers. Only the bus topology requires a minimum of 1 server. Now, let us go to the ring topology, where all the processors are kept in a ring. Now, first question is, if I give you an instruction that make one of the processors as server and serve the purpose of identification, labeling distinctly. So you can keep anywhere because of symmetry. If I keep here, then labeling starts here, 0, 1, 1, distance between them is 2, here 2, 3, 3, and this is 4. So there is ambiguity between no two pairs should have the same label. That concept is gone now. This will not resolve. We have a pair with same numbers. So for that to resolve now, I require one more. I'll keep anywhere I can keep now. I'll keep here one more. Now from this again I'll start identify 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Here distance is 3. This is also 3 here. This is 4. Now you see, this is the code. 2, 0 is the code for this vertex. 1, 1 is the code for this vertex. 1, 3 is the code for this vertex. No 2 vertices, distinct vertices, is the same code. Therefore, these 2 servers serve my purpose. That means they resolved all the ambiguities. Distinct codes we got. If I keep the second server instead of here, if I keep the server here, we see that these two pairs will receive the same code. Therefore, suitable choice of two servers resolve the purpose. The place where you kept this is called landmarks. Landmarks. Okay. The vertex at yes. Suppose if I take this is V1, this is V2, V1 and V2. This will call as a basis. In what sense? If I take a vector, two vectors along I and j vectors, okay, x-axis and y-axis. Any other vector can be written as a combination of these two. Okay. Similarly, any vertex which are not in S, can be identified through these two. Okay. Now, see the situation. This is our, see the situation now. What is the purpose of doing all this? There may be some applications now. So this is my city network. City network. Okay. These are the places. These are the important places for me. There's 1, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. These are the very, very important places. Maybe railway station, okay, or bus stand, or a marketplace. Okay. Out of these places, we are now thinking to keep some fire stations. Okay, to serve the purpose of, to safeguard the places. Suppose something happens there, fire and something. The places where we will keep the fire stations are nothing but our landmarks. Okay. For this minimum number of landmarks, that means minimum number of missions should serve the purpose. That means it serve all the places. First one, place should be identified through a code. For example, you can identify some places and do it later. Now I will explain here itself in this.
Hello.
Hello.
Madam, sir is offline.
Sir,
Sir has gone offline, madam.
maybe disconnected, sir.
Okay.
I will ask.
Maybe sir will join again. Dear participants, please bear with us for a while. Sir will join us soon again.
So, sorry, joining.
Yes, madam.
Sorry for the network issue. We hope you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Visible now? Madam? Okay. Now
Yes,
let us
sir.
see the situation, this current situation. I kept my fire stations here. Okay. With respect to that fire stations, I labeled all the, I identified all the other places. This is 4, 2, 3, 1. Now, suppose in the emergency case, suppose fire happened here. Immediately, we keep the, this is the places we will keep the fire station, fire engines here, and all the other places we will give the sensors. Okay. Suppose fire happens here, the sensor which kept here will give the it will inform, it will give the code, and it will transmit the code 4, 2 all the places. Okay. This fire station also receive the code 4, 2. This fire station also receive the code 4, 2. And all the other places also receive the code 4, 2 at a time. Okay. By receiving the code 4, 2, this server will identify where the fire happened. This server also identify where the fire happens, because 4, 2 is the unique code to the unique vertex. Okay. So distinct code is necessary to identify. Second one is, who has to go to this place to serve this fire station or this fire station. Okay. For that, this code, once you receive the code 4, 2, you identify the smallest number in that. The second number is the smallest number. It indicates 2. It indicates that end machine should go, and that is a distance of 2 units from that station to here. Okay. The purpose of this definition of this resolving set is to serve at a given place by identifying that place through a code generated by identification of some subset of that vertex. That is called basis. Basis nothing but minimum number of vertices required to resolve all the vertices, all other vertices. It's called a basis, or the cardinality of the set number of vertices are in that is called metric dimension. That was the concept introduced by Frank Harare and his research student Slater independently. They are, both of them are motivated by the concept of determining number and fixing numbers. They came together. They defined a concept that are all identical, but later Slater took that to replication of some other purpose. Metric dimension was used for some other purpose. Okay, independently they did. They thought independently. They got same definition, but they applied independently, different way. Now I'll go to the definition of locating set. That was my topic. Locating set. Suppose you have a architecture in which the processes are joined bus structure or ring structure we studied. Now go for a mesh structure. These processes are the mesh structure. Mesh. How many servers necessary to identify each and every other processor uniquely? The question is, what is the minimum number of landmarks required for an n-dimensional grid? This is a 2-dimensional grid, D1 cross D2. D1 is nothing but here 4, D2 also 4 cross 4. Okay. This any d-dimensional grid required D machines or D machines, that landmark D landmarks to serve the purpose of locating where to keep. One should be kept here in the origin, other one should be kept in the corner of this G1. Okay, if you have three-dimensional grid, take one layer by layer, you keep the other one is the top of the last corner of the topmost grid. This way you have to keep the locating set.
Yeah, let us wait for a few minutes. Sir will join again.
Sir, better to inform, sir. You might have not known he has disconnected.
Yeah, sure, madam, sure. Sir is back.
Lot
Sir
of
is back.
network issues. Network issues. Consider the situation. Consider the situation that these are the important places or army headquarters of India. Okay. I want to check whether there are any intruders. That means any enemies are walking around. Okay. Suppose.
Sir, could you please share screen, sir?
Okay.
Could you please share screen, sir? Share screen, sir.
Okay.
Screen sharing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for remembering me.
Hello.
Now screen shared.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Now situate. Now see the. This is the route map of a important places where the military is kept. We want to safeguard all these places, or we got to identify any intruder or intralopers are present some places or not. Suppose interloper present here, we have to identify and machine. We will keep some machines every place. Every place will keep the machines now. Previous purpose is different. There we are identifying to keep some machines, but here machines are not. We are keeping some devices at every place to identify the interlopers. Okay. There is some other person or some other place we are keeping our eye. We are getting the receiving the message of from all the machines we kept here places. By receiving that message, we identify where the enemy present or not. Okay. Now see the situation. See the situation. Each machine, each place will keep one device here. Okay. Every place. For example, you assume this is your departments in your college. Your presence or absence should be noticed by the principal every day. What you will do? Principal will send the attender to collect all the attendance registers from each place, or by each place you will send the attendance register. By seeing the register, principal will identify who are those absent or present. Okay. The second problem is how many attendance register to be checked to identify the absentees in each and every department. Normal process will check every department attendance. That is not necessary. We have to apply the new methodology for that. Okay. You have to keep, instead of attendance, you keep now some device here. It will check departments. Also, these are, we will keep some places here. It will check itself, also its neighbors. Okay. This device sends the messages to this person. The messages are binary bits of zeros and ones. Zeros and ones. Okay. Now, if the message sends 0, let us assume true or false like that. Nobody is there here. No lopers are here, as well as in the neighborhoods of that. No interlopers are there at that place, as well as in the neighbors. It will keep the eye on its neighbors. Suppose message V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6, V7, V8, V9, V10, V11, V12. This will send 0, that is kept in the first box in the memory of the processor. The first one is sent by the first vertex. The second vertex will send now 0. What is the indication? No loafers are there in V2, no intruders in V2, as well as in V1, V4, and V5. Nobody is there in this. Okay. Now, because here I introduced one person here, because of that person, it will say there is one person here. 1 indicates there is a difference. 0 means everything are safe. Everything are safe. 0. 1 indicates one person. 1 indicates not safe. All the places, including me and my neighbors, are not safe. 1 indicates. What it will indicate? What V5 indicates? What message it will send? Fifth one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth place, the message received by fifth vertex. What message it will send? It will send again 1 only, because similarly, what the message V7 will send? 7th place. Nobody here, nobody here, nobody here, nobody in the closer neighborhood. Nobody in the closer neighborhood. Therefore, 7th place is always 0. So he will get a message of one message for every say 2 seconds, or 2 minutes, every 2 minutes or 2 periods, 1 period. Let us take some measurement that for each period. At the end of each period, you will get one message from everybody, every place or every machine. By seeing that message, just identify, is there any intruder? If so, which place? Okay. Now the problem is, what is the problem? Now let us go back to the Slater's problem, Harari's problem. For example, if I take this one, okay, I will think, I will think everything are servers now. By coding now this 0, I'll write this as 1 because distance is 1, 1, or this is 2, and this is 3. Coding by taking this as a server. After taking this as a server, I'll write now new code now for this vertex 0. From this vertex is 1, 1, 1, and from this you're writing here 2. Okay. Now again, I'm taking this as a server. This as a server 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. Okay. Now again, I'm taking every vertex as server. This as server. I'll write this as 0. This as 1, 2. Okay. 2, 3. Okay. Again, taking this as a server. Last one. I'll write this as 1 distance here, 1 distance. This is 2 distance, and this is 2 distance. Okay. I'm always getting the code for every vertex are distinct. Every vertex are distinct. Okay. That means if I assume everything are servers, my purpose is now to identify minimum number of servers to distinguish all the codes. Okay. For that, I need not take all the servers. I take only, this is the server now, 0, 1, 2, 2, sorry. First one is 2, I did a mistake here. This was 2. 0, 2, 2, and this is 3. Okay. Next, I will take this as the server. This server, I'll use this server, second one. Right now 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay. So 2 servers are sufficient. The problem is what is the minimum number of servers are necessary. Similarly, I'll come back to this. I'll go this question. This is posed by Harare. This is called as metric dimension. This problem is posed by Slater and called as a locating dominating set later. Okay. What is the minimum? What is the minimum bits required? This message contains exactly n number of bits. N places are there. One place is reserved for one bit is reserved for one place. There are n bits here. To get the information about this person, if exists, where he exists, what the minimum length of this? What the minimum length of this message is required? Minimum length is required. That is the problem faced by Slater. Okay. For that purpose, he defined like this. Now let us take to understand clearly. I will take very simple example of this. Let us try to analyze.